Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reclaiming My Life. Do I have a treat for you all today? Please, everyone, put your hands together and welcome author, motivational speaker, visionary, director, actor, playwright, activist, event planner. Shall I go on? Come on, y'all, Mr. Raymond Goode.
I can hear y'all hand claps from way over here. Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. I'm so honored that you took the time out to join me here today on Reclaiming My Life. And my God, have you reclaimed your life?
Yes. Yes. It's definitely been a 13-year journey, but I reclaimed it. I restaked it. Yes.
Look, I'm truly inspired by your journey, who you are today, everything that you're doing. Look, we don't even have the time to, let the people know everything that you are doing today. But the reason why I invited you here today, because this show is Reclaiming My Life. And I know that you went through some trials and trauma in your life. People are going through those same trials and trauma today, and they feel that there is no hope. But you, Mr. Goode, you are here to let them know today that they can reclaim. Please share the journey with us. We want to get started with the trials that you experienced 13 years ago, if you would.
So, 13 years ago, I went through a bad depression and suicidal phase. And it was every night. And I like to say that it was a combination of things, of me not knowing who I am, me being fired from every job that I've ever had, relationships that I was in, they're just being doomed. And it took me down to a very bad place. And I always say that the world can beat you up and you can handle it. But when you start beating yourself up, then that's a tremendous weight on your shoulder, And I remember one night when I knew that this was going to happen. This was my last night. I had reached out to everybody I could. It was only me. And it had to have been about 2:00 in the morning. And I'm like, this is it. And then this spirit appeared before me. And I started talking to this spirit out loud. I started telling this spirit, for the first 30 minutes, Raymond Goode, the house paid for, the car paid for, I'm good, it's gravy. You know what I'm saying? I was still putting up this wall that I'm so used to putting up. And then for the last 30 minutes, I broke down and I cried and I told this spirit every insecurity, I tore this wall down. I let this spirit know everything that was inside of me. And at the end of me speaking, the spirit, because the spirit had never said a word, at the end of me speaking, the spirit opened his hands. And in between his hands, it showed me my destiny, my purpose, everything that I was here on planet Earth for. And then it closed his hands. And that's when December 31st, 2010, I quit all of my jobs. I left my hometown of Richmond, Virginia, and I traveled to Chicago in hopes of meeting Oprah Winfrey. And when this all took place, I didn't have a book. I had no idea what was going to go on. All I knew was I had a 1% chance of meeting Oprah Winfrey in Chicago. I had a 0% chance of meeting her in Richmond, Virginia. So I packed up everything, and December 31st, 2010, Pittsburgh. By January 3rd, my car had broken down on the way there. And I remember I passed this sign and it said 90 miles out from Chicago. And I thought to myself, I said, I don't care if I get there, walk the streets and get back on the bus and go back home. I got to at least get there. And so I got on the bus and I was carrying about 9 bags on a bus. Everything that I had in my car that I could carry, because I just left the car. I'm on a mission. You know what I'm saying? None of that material stuff means anything to me. Let me get to where I'm going. And so I got to Chicago and I'm walking the streets. And then one of my friends suggested, and he was like, hey, won't you live in a self-storage unit? He was like, you're there on a mission, so all you need to do is find a place to sleep and have your stuff at. And I was like, okay. So I
Wow.
went and I rented a self-storage unit, and I was there for I rented the self-storage unit. Like I said, I came here with no plan. So now I have no plan. The money is, I believe I got $100, and now it's like, all right, you got me here. What's the next step?
Right.
And
What now?
Like, yeah. And he was like, stand outside of Harpo Studios. You here to meet Oprah? Well, just stand out there. So I made a sign, talking about my journey and me living in I think it was called the Homeless Projects, but I called it at the time. And I stood outside a Harpo studio every day for 6 months until her show went off the air.
Jesus.
And I'm thinking, and me being optimistic, I'm like, she gonna come outside the studio and be like, you the greatest guy I ever met. Come on in. But you know what I'm saying? On the other hand, my mother was like, you need to start writing about this. So then I started journaling as what I was going through when I was living in this self-storage unit, because, okay, I mean, I wanted to be an overnight success, but I knew that if I wasn't, that this was a journey that wasn't overnight, So I said, well, let me start documenting it. And that's when it turned to Road to Oprah.
Come on now. Look, let the people know a little bit about the book. Give us a synopsis.
Well, we have to go back a little bit. So Traces of You is my first book. And Traces of You, I interviewed 50 people with 15 questions, and I turned their answers to marriage proposal stories. Now, this initial book was the book that pulled me out of my depression and suicidal mode. This was the first vision that came to me. So I started asking all of these people questions, and I interviewed everybody from, I want to say I talked to first, because it wasn't an interview for me. The more people that I talked to and they could share parts of their life with me, the more it was getting me out of that depression funk.
Yes. Yes, so, you know what? I want to pause there because I would say that one more time.
Oh, I said the more people that I talked to, the more people that shared their stories with me, it got me out of my funk and my depression mode.
Come on. That's exactly why we are here today, sharing our stories, our testimonies about trials and trauma. You see what you just said? Because their stories help you come out of your depression.
Yes.
So we are here to inspire people and motivate them to reclaim.
Yes. And I want my life to be a beacon of hope, a beacon of change, a beacon of inspiration. And it all started, I mean, for one, when it started off, my 3 jobs that I had was in-home, group home, and day treatment counseling. And I could easily tell these kids, well, this is what the next step is. This is what the next step is. But someone needs to show them how to do it. Now,
right.
I'm not telling you move to another state and live in a self-storage unit. But I'm telling you, if I can do that, you can do way more than what you're doing,
Right.
I'm not going to tell you not to move to another state and live in a self-storage unit and start all over, because that's what life is. That's what reclaiming your life is. I'm going to tell you, people, they make it so much hard. As easy as it is to turn on a light switch, is as easy as it is for you to change your life around.
Jesus. Come on and testify today. Yes. So look, you left Richmond, Virginia, went to Chicago. This man stood out at Harpo Studios 6 months.
Yeah.
6 months. Now that's what you call determination. Wow. So, let me ask you, how did you start reclaiming? Like you said, you were going through suicidal ideations, you were depressed, you had low self-esteem, you had experienced a bad breakup, going to Chicago. Then what happened to make you change your life?
It was well before I got to. It was just leaving and stepping out on faith. I tell you, when you're 1 foot in the grave and 1 foot out the grave, you can only go both one or the other way.
Right.
If you put that other foot in the grave, you're done. But if you take the foot out, You've seen the light. Someone has shown you something. When you took that foot out the grave, you still at level 1, but your mentality, your spirituality, your physicality has changed, you know? So with me, before I begin the journey, with me doing what everybody else wanted me to do, with me working their jobs, with me trying to look for a female and look for love instead of letting it come to me, that's what drove me all the way down. When my foot came out the grave and I left all of that and started following the spirit, the creator, the most high, that's when everything just opened up. So I was deaf, dumb, and blind for 32 years. And then when I walked into the light after 32, like I tell you, somebody was talking to me yesterday. 2 days ago, and we was face to face. And he was like, do you know how many followers you have? Do you know how many fans you have? I said, I don't, because they behind me. I'm glad they following. That's fine and dandy. But this is what I'm focused on. If there was no followers there, this is all I need to see.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it. Woo, come on, look. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with more. And listen, y'all, I'm telling y'all, I'm so excited because like I said, I'm so inspired for who you are today. We're going to take a break and come back, and we're going to hear how Mr. Goode reclaimed his life.
Yes.
She lives with John 3:16 as a daily reminder. This verse serves as a representation of why she gives so freely of herself, firmly believing that if God could send his one and only son to die for our sins, surely she can give of herself to be of service to others. She has a heart that beats with immeasurable rhythm of caring and love. Her arms continuously stretch longer and longer, and yet they never seem to break. This is all evident by the love, care, and commitment she has as a mother, first raising her 3 daughters, for a while as a single mother. She displays a positive example for her daughters as her mother did for her. Many of us have heard or read stories of the close bond she and her mother had and the love she still has for her mother. When it came to mothering, she didn't stop with just her 3 daughters. You see, she received a call that there were 3 little girls, sisters, who needed some extra special love, attention, care, and guidance. And she answered that call with a yes. And just when you might think that would be enough just to take care of them, no. Her love and her heartbeats grew even stronger for them. Those arms stretched longer and wider. She gave more of herself and made them legally hers by adopting them. We have a message from her daughters. How tremendously blessed we are to have come from such a woman as our mother. When we think of all she represents, we are amazed at her daily grace, her strength, resiliency, persistence, love, passion, and her unwavering commitment to her faith, her family, and to her community. A message from her husband. She is my everything. Selfless, supportive, nurturing, and patient. She has a heart for God's people and consistently demonstrates this through community service and feeding the homeless. She possesses a love like no other for our entire family, especially our children. She can cook, and she does give the best hugs.
My mission is to encourage and equip others to believe in the possibilities of a happier, healthier, and fulfilled life by inspiring positive change through talk therapy sessions.
All right. Look, y'all, I'm so excited today because I love to see how people reclaim. We all go through something, whether it's a trial or a trauma in our life. But the most important thing is how we overcome and reclaim. And today we have Mr. Raymond Goode with us. And let me tell you, let's talk about through his eyes. Is it through his eyes or through their eyes?
Through their eyes.
Through their eyes. You know, I mean, come on and talk to us. I know that it's a stage production. You are traveling the world. You have worldwide attention on this project. My God, y'all, I know it was just in Chicago. It's coming to Richmond, Virginia. Look, I can barely let him talk. I'm just
so
talk to us about Through Their Eyes.
So after Road to Oprah was done, to realize, because like I said, now I'm starting to grow. Since 32, I started to grow and getting more in tune into who Raymond Goode is. And Raymond Goode has a very special gift of listening to people. And I say that people will usually talk in circles, but if you let them talk long enough, they'll get to exactly what's in their heart and what they want to say. So as I traveled the world, like total strangers would start telling me their stories. And I look, I'm in Popeyes. I done got some chicken. I done walked around all day long. I want to sit here, eat my chicken, be in my own little world. And this white guy sits beside me. Mind-blowing story. And why he is doing this is, for one, he's met a stranger. Sometimes they don't want your sympathy, your empathy. They just want to tell their story and just keep going on about their lives.
Yes, they want to vent.
They want to vent. So I started writing down their stories. So along my journey and my travel, through their eyes, with every newspaper, news story, a story that I heard, stories. Now, not only did I want it to be a book to share other people's stories, but I wanted people to have retrospect about what they was reading too. So I put critical thinking questions in there as well. So when they read, they can critically think about what they read about. So my first stage production that I put out and what I'm touring with now is called Through Their Eyes. And Through Their Eyes, I've taken several of those stories out of the book and put it on stage. There's a live band or musician that performs between each monologue that correlate with the monologues. And I've met artists from all over the world, victims and survivors, who's made paintings for the show as well. So what I started doing now, this is mind-blowing. This is what I really love, because this is the first of the kind in the U.S. ever in history. So it's called the Still Life Art Gallery. So now, let's take an empty room, and I hang 3 pictures on one side of the room and 3 pictures on the other side of the room. And then I decorate the scene where something traumatic happened. And then I have the actors pose in front of the scene.
Wow.
So when you walk in, it's an interactive art gallery. You're walking around, you're taking pictures. They're going through different poses that they need to go through. And then when the show begins, this monologues come forth, and then there's a violinist or a dance, and then this monologue it goes around the entire room.
Come on. That's amazing. Amazing.
and I've been touring like since I stepped out on stage December 31st, 2010. I mean, I've been touring every year. This has been 17 cities and 13 states. And whatever city and state that I go in, I use the performers from that city and state. I mean, if I'm in Richmond, you know what I'm saying, I want to bring out Richmond people, so I want to use Richmond performers. So now I have a network of performers from Chicago to DC to Richmond to New York to wherever. And they all believe in the vision. And so now when I do my production, I started inviting them out. So people from different states and different cities, now they all come and be a part of this one vision just to make it explosive.
Come on. Look, I know you have met many celebrities from all around the world, you know, and just to name a few, tell us about your experience with Keke Palmer.
Oh, Keke Palmer was great. I met her, well, is she the hottest lady trending thing? Is she the hottest latest trending thing? I met her at the Steve Harvey Neighborhoods Awards event in Atlanta. And she had just finished speaking. And I was like over there in the crowd, and I had my books in the whole night because I'm always promoting up in the air. And
Right.
she came over here, and she came over to me. We engaged in a conversation for probably about 10 minutes to her security said she had to go, and got about 2 or 3 of my books, and she floated off.
Now that's blessed. You know I saw James Fortune and Isaac Curry. They also had your books.
Yes,
Talk about your experience with them.
So it all started, well, it didn't all start, but so 350 Goals of a Leader is my 4th book. And 350 Goals of a Leader, I was inspired by my first meeting that I had with Mr. Steve Harvey, who asked me leadership questions that I couldn't answer at the time. He told me, go home, write down 350 goals, and then come back and see him. Thus inspiring me 350 Goals of a Leader with the dedication to Mr. Steve Harvey. So he planted the seed. I just tilled it and sowed it. You know what I'm saying?
Look,
when the season came,
I don't think the people heard you.
He planted a seed. He planted a seed.
Who told you what?
Mr. Steve Harvey.
Come on.
And just some of the people, because I put them all, a couple of people that I put into my thank yous or my dedications who I've met over is Omar Epps, actor Omar Epps, Ayanna Van Zant, Deborah Lee, she was the owner of BET, Nephew Tommy, Sherry Shepard, Stedman Graham, Mike Street, big ups to Virginia, Whoopi Goldberg, Lil Scrappy, Yolanda Adams, Roland Martin, Jill Scott, 112, Miss Community Clovia, like the list just goes. You're Anthony Anderson, Kiki Palmer, the list just goes on, and they all have my books.
I'm seriously trying to keep it together and not cry.
When you
we're
put
talking
yourself
about a man who was depressed, has suicidal ideations, low self-esteem, lived in a storage unit, who has reclaimed. Do y'all hear this? Somebody's going through something today, but let me tell you, don't give up.
No.
You have a living, walking testimony sitting right here today that you can reclaim your life. You know, and I like that you said, you know, you're going to have one foot in the grave and one out. Which way you going to go?
Yes. This world is full of people that wants to help you. Let's go back to high school or middle school. I promise you, it's 5 or 10 people that attack your character. It's 5 or 10 people that say you're too fat, you're too short, you can't do this, you can't do that. But there was 200 people that said you're doing amazing. You let the 5 or 10 influence you. You let the 5 or 10 influence you. It was 200 people that said you're amazing. Come on in.
Yes.
Let's not worry about the 5 or 10. They hate us.
But unfortunately, you know, that's a good point. Unfortunately, you know, it could even be one person. You know, you hear all the time, there was a girl, there was a boy that bullied me. And that one person has caused many people to commit suicide. One person. But like you said, you have 200 people saying you're amazing, you're special, you're loved, you're worthy, you're enough. But one person.
And that's how, out of all of my talking, out of all of my motivational speaking, out of me traveling the world, it only comes down to one thing when somebody says, how can I be helped? And I go to how to write and print your own book for under $300. I go back to the pad and the pen. That is all you need. That's $2 from Dollar Tree. Just keep a pad and pen on you. When you're going through your depression mode, write it out. We ain't worried about spelling. We ain't worried about dialogue. If you hate that mofo for what he did, then you write out everything that he did on that piece of paper. That's one of the things that saved my life. Because when I was going through my depression, suicide, it's 12-pack a night, you know what I'm saying? And brain just twirling. So now when I added the pad and pen in it, now I'm drinking, now I'm writing. Now I'm drinking, now I'm writing. So by the end of the night, I done got my emotions out. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like going that route no more. I don't want to go to sleep. So I say to everybody, start writing. Don't worry about writing a book. You're not writing a book. You're just getting your heart and soul on this piece of paper. If you don't want to share it with the rest of the world, that's quite fine and dandy. But you're just getting your heart and soul on this piece of paper.
That's right. That's right. And it helps. It helps because you're releasing. It's a way to release. You know, sometimes people don't want to talk to other people. Talk therapy is important, but if you're not ready to talk, right, you know, because it's still a way to release. Yeah. So, Mr. Goode, you know, you got so much in so many books. Please let the people know how they can get your books. Then I want you to let them know about this stage production that's coming in Richmond next month, how they can get tickets to it, and how they can connect with you.
I think the best way to get any of that is just to go to Facebook, Raymond Goode, Goode, Instagram, Raymond Goode, Goode. The flyers are up there. August 19th is a production. It's called the Still Life Art Gallery. It's in Shockoe Bottom at 1st and 6th Street, I think, but it's on the flyer. I'm very excited to be bringing that production to that place. And then I just signed on to do a 3-part series for National Recovery Month in September. That's National Recovery Month. So we're going to take an in-depth look at drug behavior, drug addiction, and behavior addiction as well.
Mr. Goode, I definitely have to let the people know how we met. You know, I want to thank Pastor Altoni Foote. We received the Choicey Award from Choice, the radio station here, The Choice in Richmond, Virginia. It was a pleasure. I'm very grateful for the connection. I love you, my friend. Congratulations on all of your endeavors and everything that you have accomplished thus far. And trust me, I will be following the journey.
You know, I am just stuck on this beautiful picture behind you. Boy, girl, you look good.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. God bless you, my friend. And to our audience, let me tell you, I hope you have been inspired today because I have truly been inspired. And we just want you to know that there is hope. There's hope for healing, and you can reclaim your life. Be blessed.